Good day and welcome back to another DB Legends video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the Fierce Fight 2 Fierce Fight for Super Saiyan 2 Kefla. So this is the latest Fierce Fight to come to DB Legends, and yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think most Fierce Fight events follow the same trend nowadays, so players should have a decent idea of, well, exactly how they work. But if you don't, or if you just want a recap, or if you just want a guide on everything to do with Kefla, you're welcome to watch my video. So basically, Fierce Fight with Kefla. So how Fierce Fight events work is you will take on the event, you will fight the first couple stages. This will unlock the initial Z power for the unit. You will then complete missions, do the daily bonus event, and in this case you will also complete the hyperdimensional co-op to obtain further Z power for the unit. You get 700 from the battles and the clearances. You can get up to another 200 from completing the challenge battles, and then basically from there it's just doing the daily event. There is also a special equipment that has appeared with the event, and there's also some special equipment you can unlock to increase the amount of Z power that you get from the hyperdimensional co-op. So pretty straightforward stuff. Like I said, I think most players nowadays should have a decent idea of how to do a Fierce Fight event. Obviously, the first stage will be the one that unlocks the Z power for the unit, but there's a couple things you need to know. So in terms of the exchange shop, you obtain these coins by completing each stage. You can get them by rerunning the stage, and you can trade these coins in for equipment, slot removers, skip tickets, energy, but also, super importantly, you can also exchange it for the special medal that you need for the hyperdimensional co-op. So that's how you can increase your hyperdimensional co-op earnings. Super duper important to do so. Then the next thing you need to consider are the missions. So there are missions for the Fierce Fight event that you have to complete if you want to obtain a lot of Z power for Kefla. These missions are pretty straightforward, and most of them range from clearing all of the event stages with full challenges cleared, and also revolve around raising her friendship rank and also training her and including her in a team. Now, if you do not have Kefla, that's not a problem. You can complete the first stage with any unit, and this will unlock Kefla for you. I will be using a event exclusive team, just to show you that you can do it with basically free to play units. It's really not such a bad procedure. I will highlight, however, that I do suggest that you use the strongest unit you can rather than focusing in on using event exclusive units. It's really nothing special. I do suggest that you rather use the strongest team that you can, as this will enable you to complete the challenges a lot easier and have a lot less to worry about. Now, of course, as you guys should understand, Fierce Fights are, strictly speaking, predominantly made to create a bench unit. So these units are traditionally not the strongest units in the game, and the event is more designed so as to give you an option for someone to boost your team and potentially maybe be some kind of closer, finisher, or support for your team. But the first fight is fairly simple. It's never really that hard, and you want to complete it so that you can get the first 100 Z power so that you can unlock Kefla. Once you've unlocked Kefla, you'll have access to the abilities to complete all the rest of the challenges. Now, you can use other Keflas. You don't have to distinctly use this Super Saiyan 2 Kefla. You can use other Keflas to complete the missions for all of these stages if you don't feel like going through the hassle of training or awakening her or soul boosting or anything like that, for whatever reason. Or maybe you just want to get a head start and complete all of them and come back to the admin of preparing her a bit later. But yes, once you complete this stage, you're basically good to go. You'll see that you didn't complete all of the missions, but you've now unlocked Kefla. And at this point, what you want to do is you want to soul boost and train her, and you're going to want to also put her in your team. This is also a great opportunity to start working on her friendship rank by doing the Let's Fight upgrade events, as the Let's Fight upgrade events will help you raise her friendship rank and are going to just in general be pretty good calls for the most part in terms of uplifting her capabilities. So yeah, pretty straightforward stuff, I would say, for Kefla. Nothing too crazy. Soul boost her, train her, and you can also do the Let's Fight events to get a head start on her friendship rank, which is all pretty good stuff. Obviously, you can then proceed to complete the missions with Kefla, which I will be doing. So I'm going to skip ahead in time, and you can see, bam, we've done all 3 of the first stages, completed all of their challenges, and things are going fairly well. There's nothing too crazy here. A lot of them were just to do with using 2 units or less, or evading or vanish stepping an attack, and doing some switches. So nothing too crazy at all. We've also completed some missions, so you can go collect those if you want to as well. These will be courtesy of your training, your soul boosting, and also if you have raised her rank to friendship 1 or 2. This is important because it will actually unlock a hyperdimensional co-op medal, which you can use to boost your drop rates from hyperdimensional co-op, so it's actually pretty helpful overall. Now, of course, remember that you can buy equipment or farm the medals. You don't need to do any of the other stages. You can farm the medals and gain your rewards as best you can. Now we're going to do the daily bonus stage first, we'll do the special equipment stage next, and then we will try our hand at the challenge stage. But of course, that is also just part of the journey. I will also do a separate video about the challenge stage, as traditionally it's a stage that gives players a lot of concerns. So yeah, obviously we are here, we're taking on the battle bonus stage. It's important to get a head start on the stage because you want to do it every day. It gives you quite a sizable amount of Z power, and there are missions tied to it. The next stage we'll take on is the equipment stage, and then the final stage is the challenge stage, which gives Z power for Kefla. Now Kefla, I haven't really spoken about her as a unit, but now's a great time to discuss her as a unit and talk about her. So she's on Universal Survival Saga. She's a Girl Saiyan Universe 6, Batara, Super Saiyan 2, Fusion Warrior, Rival Universe Event Exclusive, and Universe Rep Tag character, so pretty versatile. She has her special move, Gigantic Ray, which deals major impact damage and gives her plus 30% to special move damage inflicted for 5 timer accounts upon activation. She will also seal 1 enemy card slot randomly on hit, and the sealed card cannot be used for 10 turns, which is pretty good. She then has I've Got a Present For You, which is draw a Blast Arts card next, restores her own health by 20% and ki by 30, applies the buff effect and nullification of enemy special actions that affect when changing cover, and also cancels all allies' attribute downgrades, cancels all enemies' attribute upgrades, and only have to wait 15 timer counts before you can apply this main ability. So pretty decent stuff. Her special skill is Unlock Key, form of attack, which will draw a Blast Arts card next, restore own ki by 30, plus 20% to blast damage inflicted by allies for 15 timer counts, and she will shorten her allies' substitution counts by 3, which is all fairly decent. It's nice that she has some substitution count reduction abilities. I think overall that's always a helpful mechanic to have for units, especially bench units. It's just great to be able to essentially switch them in to do some damage, and then to be able to kind of prevent or bring those major units that you want back out. You will also notice that she is indeed applying debuffs to the opposition here, and these debuffs are health restoration debuffs, so she reduces the amount of health that our opposition will restore with each attack that she performs, which is pretty good stuff. Overall, it's a nice ability to have. There's a lot of health restoration on certain teams, so it's great for Kefla to be able to mitigate that and to kind of help you control that situation. Remember, for the special equipment stage, there are challenges. It's not just a timed based challenge, so it would be great for you if you can, of course, complete all of those. It'll allow you to clear the stage and farm the equipment. Then talking about the rest, so her Z ability at max rank is plus 33% to tag Universe Rep, tag Event Exclusive, or tag Girls, Blast Attack, and base or blast attack and defense during battle. So she's definitely a blast-based unit. It's nice that she covers Universe Rep, I think is good, considering we've received 2 Universe Rep units. And I think overall her covering girls is nice, as we've received some Android 21s as well. So I think both of those things are really, really good. The final thing we come down to is the unique abilities, so that we can take a look at them. The first is Thirst for Power, which applies the following effects to self when battle starts: plus 80% to damage inflicted, plus 40% to damage inflicted for 80 timer counts, plus 20% to blast damage inflicted, damage reduction of 50%, and then further damage reduction of 15% for 30 timer counts. She also inflict the enemy with attribute downgrade, minus 20% to health restoration for 15 timer counts on strike or blast starts hit, which we've already mentioned. And she will restore her own health by 10% when the enemy switches character while she's on the battlefield. When she's faced with an enemy that has the tag guard key, she will gain 20% to damage inflicted for 10 timer counts, and inflict all enemies with attribute downgrade plus 5 to all arts card costs, which is again pretty good. Her second ability that she has is Surging Key, which inflicts all enemies with attribute downgrade minus 30% to critical rate for 15 timer counts when this character enters the battlefield, and also applies the following effects to allies if the tag Universe Rep or tag girls other than this character is a battle member. Plus 20% to damage inflicted for 20 timer counts, plus 20% to key recovery for 20 timer counts, and shorten substitution counts by 1. Applies the following effects to itself every time when faced with an enemy: restoration of key by 20, plus 20% to damage inflicted, and minus 5 to blast art cost for 10 timer counts. So she actually has a pretty nice passive. I actually think she's pretty cool. I love that she has the ability to seal cards on her ultimate attack. I think that's really good. I think it's super good. I think it's super helpful. I think it's great overall. I like that she debuffs health restoration. I think that's really good. I think her ability to reduce arts card costs is pretty nice. Her ability to reduce substitution counts is pretty nice. The real question is just going to be how much damage she can actually do. Based on what we've seen, obviously, only from the events, essentially she looks very similar to Android 21 Red, whereby she'll be pretty good for damage against green units, but I don't think she'll be that great for damage against others. She doesn't have like any type nullification abilities. She doesn't seem to have a lot of crit rate abilities. She does have the ability to reduce the opposition's crit rate, which I think is really good, and it's actually a good counter against hit. So hit is a unit that can build up a massive amount of crit rate, and having Kefla, who can reduce that amount of crit, is pretty helpful. She's definitely going to be able to cause quite significant damage, or at least be a somewhat pseudo counter-ish unit to hit. Not that she's going to be huge, but she will be able to pseudo counter hit. She will be able to at least remove his crit rate mechanics, and her sealing capabilities could come in handy as well. Her ability to seal could be incredibly useful and helpful, and really just help out overall, because of the fact that Hit has to use a special card to be able to do his damage. So being able to seal him and potentially lock that special card is really helpful. And locking any cards is something that's great against Hit. Destroying cards is also something that's great against Hit. So there is definitely a kind of agenda to seal his cards and also remove his crit, which Kefla does pretty well, if I'm being entirely honest. But yeah, that is pretty much it for Kefla. Unfortunately, we don't manage to secure the win in this challenge battle. We get pretty close, which I think is pretty good. We'll boost Kefla through the hyperdimensional carp, and then we'll retake on the event, and we'll clear it, and we'll do a video on it. But I think that's a pretty good first attempt, if I do say so myself. Now, of course, I think that's everything you need to know about the Kefla event. As always, guys, the last thing I'll say is please remember that if you are struggling to complete her challenges in her missions, then you probably need to raise her friendship. That's one of the main parts. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me. You can raise her Z power through the hyperdimensional carp, and you can increase the amount that drops through the special equipment that comes from her event and the event missions. So try and do that if you are struggling or want to improve the amount of drops that you get. But otherwise, of course, I thank you guys for watching the video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, take care, stay safe, and as always, I'll see you guys next time. But until then, bye.